What's up, guys? Luca here. Luca Teal. Yes, the Ashen one, the Ashen Lucario, the Ashen Luca. It's me. I'm here with another episode of the show. And my golly, it's going to be a good one, hopefully. A lot of really interesting things happen this week. The most interesting thing for me personally is this Kendrick and Drake stuff, but we'll discuss that more at the very end of the show. And in the meantime, we can talk about the gaming stuff because a lot of interesting things happen in gaming, including Helldivers 2, some Helldivers 2 drama, and then some issues with not issues, but some drama involving Starfield finally getting a 60 frames mode. So, let me go ahead and introduce Singer.
What up, what up, what up?
What up, what up? And then a slow mo.
Yo, what's up?
All right,
Happy to
guys.
be here. First time here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like my 500th time here. Anyway, have a good
You didn't
time.
have to explain that, man.
I whatever. Let's do this. Let's have some fun.
Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, we can go ahead and the first topic. Oh, actually, what's up, Latex? Shout out to Amon, member of the channel. Appreciate you, my boy. And then what's up, Arcade, Gen X, King Metrotron, Spida, Breesky. What's up, guys? So let's go ahead and talk about this Starfield situation. Starfield is finally getting a 60 FPS mode. Now, some people saw this and cheered. Other people saw it and were like, that's interesting. So that whole cinematic bullshit that you were spewing,
Right.
that nonsense that was coming out your fucking mouth, Todd. But again, Todd, Todd Howard is one of my favorite liars. He's top 3 for me. So I'm not surprised at this. Starfield was always capable of running 60 FPS on the Series X. That's obvious, right? But they made that choice because I'm sorry, go ahead.
Who's your top 3 then? It's got to be Phil, Todd, and Jim Ryan, right?
Yes, you got
Yes.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. Yes, sir. The Hall of Fame.
Jim Ryan, Phil Spencer, and Todd Howard. My top 3 favorite liars, right? So, but yeah, so this is having people call into question the validity of Todd's statements. Again, Todd is a fucking known liar, so it's just kind of like, this. What do you really expect from a known liar, right? We all knew it was bullshit what he was spewing beforehand, but it really goes back to this idea that if you Okay. It really goes back to that idea that if you give people more time, they can actually add and have that 60 FPS mode. Again, the console is very much so capable of running games at 60 FPS. We've seen that before. It's a choice on the developer's part in the sense that they don't have enough time to add that shit, man. So, okay, so let's go ahead and start scrolling. All right. So, Bethesda's rolling out new display options for the Series X May 15th. When did Starfield come out?
Starfield came out in September or October. Yeah. One of those.
Okay, well, came out last year, so it's been about 6 months at this point, maybe 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, I don't know, something like that, right? But Starfield players on Xbox will no longer have to deal with the game's 30 FPS cap. As part of an update arriving on May 15th, Bethesda will let the Series X players run games at 60. The 60 FPS option comes as part of several new display customization settings. So the game will let you choose to prioritize visuals to keep the highest resolution while maintaining full details for special effects, lighting, and crowds, or choose to prioritize frame rate performance, which will lower internal resolution and detail for special effects, lightings, and crowds. Right? Bethesda recommends choosing the performance mode when running the game at 60 FPS and above. So here's the thing, right? Again, it comes back to this idea that all we really want at this point, because we have been given a taste, we as in console gamers, right, have been given a taste of what it's like to have a tiny little, just a smidge of what it's like to be a PC gamer in the sense of having those customization options. So some people would be like, well, that's not what the consoles are for. It's not what the consoles are for. All this stuff, right? But the thing of it is that what a console is and what it means has evolved significantly than when consoles first started coming out. Things have changed with the introduction of the internet. It's not as clear cut there are features on these consoles. These consoles have the ability to allow you to watch TV, to play movies. It's not just for TV, right? It's not just for gaming, right? So it's just like this idea that, oh, this is a console. It's not supposed to be like PC when it has these consoles are at this point mini PCs. I just think it's a silly sort of commentary, and I think that there's nothing wrong with a console gamer wanting and having options, especially when they made it a point to highlight the 60 FPS, 120 FPS, and again, not just Xbox, PlayStation as well, right? And yeah, so like yeah, yeah. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Singer.
Well, actually, no, you. Yeah, you go, because I'm gonna roll it into something else as well.
Okay. Well, I'm not surprised. I knew from the very start they could have did a 60 frames per second performance mode, but they chose not to. More or less, not really chose not to. Is that they didn't have enough time to get it out, and they weren't going to delay the game even further. Because if you guys recall, it was delayed out of 2022 into 2023, and so this is more to do with the fact that, and here's my theory, right? Redfall happened. And when they announced for Redfall that there was only going to be 30 frames per second on consoles, but getting a 60 frames per second patch later on, there was a huge backlash to that. When the game came out, it was a huge disaster, and Phil Spencer was showing up on Kind of Funny, trying to damage control, apologizing. And if you guys recall, on Kind of Funny, he was asked, "Hey, is this going to be the same thing for Starfield?" And what did Phil Spencer do? He punted. He wasn't going to speak on that. We'll talk about that later, which was basically for anybody who has the ability to discern, PR statements. Yeah, it was going to be 30 frames per second. And that was exactly what was confirmed. The reason why I think Todd Howard was out here lying on the game's ability to perform on the consoles is because they didn't want the backlash, nor did they want the people to say, well, I'll just wait for the 60 frames per second patch. Because we saw what happened with Redfall with that, right? People said, I'll wait for 60 frames per second. The game came out. It was a disaster. The people who said they were going to wait never played it. And so they never got that monthly active user numbers. They never got the somewhat, sales numbers from people who actually want to buy and try the game out. They never got those people to install and download and play the game on Game Pass so they could put that into their metrics too. They didn't get any of that stuff. So they weren't going to deal with that with Starfield. So they knew all along they were going to have a performance mode eventually, but they weren't going to tell you, the consumer, because they didn't want you to wait for that. They wanted you to play it at launch. And Todd Howard told everyone, he said, hey, it can get up to, more than 30 frames per second. You can sometimes do 60 FPS. It can run there, but we just wanted to be stable. We didn't want to have to compromise the visuals that we created in order for you to maintain that. Really? So what changed? Is it FSR? Because FSR 3.0, I didn't see any statement saying FSR 3.0 or 3.1, which just came out, is going to be present there. What changed? You either are going to release a game, a mode this month that when Digital Foundry gets it, they're going to say this thing is all over the place. It's not really hitting 60 frames per second, which means that the exact thing that you could have released back last year could have been you're releasing now, or you basically just lied about trying to maintain the level of visuals of your vision of what the game is supposed to look like, and you lowered some of those things. You maybe have changed like certain lighting techniques and reflection techniques that aren't as expensive. You did something to change it so that the Xbox Series X could maintain the 60 FPS. Either way, you lied. The same way at launch when people was like, yo, what kind of performance can we expect with this? And then Todd Howard said, well, we optimize our game. If you can't run it, you better get better hardware.
He
And
did say
then
that,
and then 3 weeks later, they came out with a patch that had double digit, like over 20% performance across the board for all hardware. Why is that? Because you ain't optimized your game, Todd. And so I don't know why anybody believes anything Todd Howard has to say. He's a known liar, as Lucas said. And so this is no surprise. And don't be surprised if Hellblade 2 at 30 FPS as well, the third game in a row to beat 30 frames per second at launch, has a 60 FPS performance mode early next year, sometime later this year. What it is that Xbox does not value you as a customer on console, that is. They value people on PlayStation. Clearly. They value the PC gamer, clearly. But the Xbox gamer, they don't value y'all. So they'll lie to your face and tell you this is what it is, and then actually add all that stuff later on, especially if, like, say, the PlayStation version is better, and then they gotta fix a quote-unquote bug, like in Pentiment. So there you have it. That's all I got.
All right.
What you got, Singer?
So Samo stole a lot of what I was going to say, so I'm not going to repeat.
You should have went first. I told you.
It was inevitable, right? There's going to be some crossover. It is what it is. But no, we knew all games on console could hit 60. All of them can. None of them you could just lower the resolution into as they've done with Starfield. Like, that was obvious. Like, it's the most obvious thing ever, because you could do that on PC. If your game ain't hitting 60, guess what? You go in the settings, drop the resolution a little bit, maybe drop some settings. Boom, you got 60 FPS. Wow, how hard was that? So obviously, it's Todd Howard always lies. He did it with 76. He's done it with all his games, actually, or most of them. He didn't lie about Skyrim, though. I don't think he lied about Skyrim. But either way, so be careful with this update as well, because, you know, Bethesda's updates are just as buggy as their games. Shout out to Fallout 4. You know,
I know.
it got so bad on Fallout 4 that they released a mod to downgrade the game. They made them downgrade it because what we have on PC is better than what that mod, and that release just breaks every single mod. So everyone's like, nah, we ain't dealing with that. Let's just roll back the game. So they reversed the update. So be careful with this update, because it might do some funny things. It's going to break, especially if you're playing on PC, it's going to break a whole bunch of shit, guaranteed. So yeah, just be careful. But there's not much more to say, because Slow-Mo covered most of it. So it's, you know, Todd's our favorite liar. Starfield should have had 60 at launch. Hellblade should have 60 at launch. Just lower that resolution a bit. You don't need native 4K for a game to look good. You just don't. Look at Red Dead 2 on PC. It was looking stellar at 1440p.
Yeah, what really gets me is, like, I just don't understand. I mean, I know, again, it comes down to them running out of time, essentially, right? But it's just kind of like, man, like, why is this not ever a priority? Is it this idea that most console players, they actually just don't care, and visuals are all that matter, or what? You know, I feel like that's an outdated mentality. Now, maybe how I feel versus what's reality, those are two different things, right? So maybe the numbers don't actually reflect that, and that's why they
It's to
continue
sell.
this. But
You could sell 4K. You can't sell FPS. Like, if you watch a trailer on TV, or you watch a gameplay trailer, you could go, wow, look at these visuals. Look how photorealistic it is. Wow, look at all this. If you say it's got 120 FPS, the average person's gonna look at the screen like, I don't see a difference.
yeah, I
So,
hear you.
because FPS is a feel, not a see, for the most part.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Obviously, to sell your game, you need to put the visuals on display to sell it.
The crazy thing is that They're not even getting 4K on consoles, so it's like
Yeah, exactly. It's fake 4K.
Yeah, because like Starfield was like I think the actual resolution is like 1200p. So okay, it's just it's of course you don't want to go any lower than that, or lower than 1080p in a performance mode, but it's just kind of sucks for the people who play on consoles and they're stuck on console. They only have the Xbox console. That even with the choice that we thought we had, we'll at least have the choice between a performance mode and a resolution mode. That for first party games, you're not getting that, which is something that third party games on Xbox will provide that option. So it's just weird.
Mm-hmm. It is very weird.
It's also a hit because
go ahead.
Because PlayStation's first party games do give you the option. You know what I'm saying? But again, Xbox isn't competing with PlayStation anymore, so I guess it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Pull this up. Okay, so what's up? What's up, Pat Man? How you doing, baby? What's up, Gavin? What's up, Ren? What's up? Yes, I agree, Gavin. What's up, Green? What's up, Texas? What's up, Blue Moon? What's up, Virgil? What's up, Glinzer? Can't spell Starfield with lie. Oh, and the fart without lie. What's up? Hey, Still Rain, man. What's up, baby? Let me know if you want to hop in, if you want to get in on the Drake and Kendrick stuff, if you're interested in that. What's up, Meat Puppet? How you doing? John the Don, what's up, baby? How you doing? What's up, Vac? How you doing? Dolo, what's up? Drav, how you doing, baby? What's up, guys? Good to see y'all. What's up, Nautical?
What up, Doe?
What's up, Karai?
Stay in the building.
What's up, Mike? What's good, baby? Def Lloyd, what's good? Good. Hey, what's up, Nautical? What do you think about this Starfield getting 60 FPS on Xbox?
It should have been there at the beginning.
Well, yes, sir.
But then again, Halo should have had a lot of stuff at the beginning, and it didn't. Forza should have had a lot of stuff at the beginning. It didn't. It seems like it's a narrative right now that Xbox is willing to just throw games out there incomplete. I mean, this isn't nothing new. Pretty much most of gaming does it. That's why we had so many issues with games when they first come out. It's just the fact that it's disappointing from a customer standpoint for people that actually pay attention to it. But, it's here. I mean, it took just as long for them to do this 60 frames per second update as it took them to do the Redfall one. So, I mean, at least they're consistent in that regard. But the funny thing is, I was listening to Sigger on my way home, and he was just talking about, how, 4K is the visual and 60 is the feel. I have a lot of people especially since this came out, that I know that played Starfield, and they don't care about none of this stuff. The biggest thing for them, I was like, what did you think of Starfield? I said, what did you think? How did it play to you and stuff? And they said, oh, I thought it played really well. I just ran out of stuff to do, or I got bored. For a lot of people, it really wasn't the performance of the game for them on console that really bugged them. It was like, what am I doing? After so long of playing the game, you just felt like you were, doing monotonous tasks and stuff throughout the galaxy and stuff. And I guess people thought it was going to be, they made it seem like it was going to be grander than it was. But the last thing that they said was like, yeah, I mean, it's good that they're doing 60 frames per second. But like I told Slow-Mo during DPS, 40% of the people that played that game ain't going to care about this update because they're already done with the game or it's already too late.
Slow-Mo, I do have to push back on the Forza part because they did rebuild the game from the ground up. And when you rebuild it up...
I don't care if you build on ground for the game. You delay it until it's ready.
But the thing is, you don't know how many years it takes. Like how many more extra years they needed it out.
And?
Well, clearly they needed an extra 8 months to get that 60 FPS.
No, but Gran Turismo did the same thing. They
Okay,
were
and they
missing
get the
tracks
smoke
and
too.
cars.
We talked about how that game, how they put 8K on it, and all it is in the I forget what is in the replays or the showroom.
No, that's ray tracing.
Yeah, ray tracing. They just put ray tracing on there. So I hear what you're saying, but ultimately it comes back to why release a game when it's not ready. I understand, and it's like part of it is because obligations, they want to hit deadlines, they want to hit, they want to hit stuff before quarters end. I will die on the hills telling people that the reason that Halo came out the year it came out is because it was the 20th anniversary and they wanted to celebrate that, and they wanted to celebrate it by selling mugs instead of letting the game mature for an extra year, and the game would have been better off. But but that's what these corporations do. They ultimately, like Slomo said, they don't care about you. They care about the dollar that you represent. And then once that dollar is consumed, they do whatever they want to do with the game at that point, because guess what? People that come to the game a year later are going to have a better experience than you are, just like they are doing when it comes to putting games on PlayStation. The people that wait, or the people that get a chance to experience later, will always have a better experience when it comes to playing certain games than other people. I have people that played Jedi Survivor after all the patches, and they never knew that the game was broken as heck. But guess what? To them, it's a great game.
But with racing games, you'd have to wait at least 10 years in between games, because let's say you have to model 1,000 cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how long it takes. And
it can't take that long, for the simple fact that new car generations come out every 4 to 5 years. So they have to at least get it done in the time period that manufacturers release their cars.
Yeah, but you have to take your time. Bear in mind, not all the cars are new. A lot of cars are recycled cars, but you have to redo the models, right? And then you have to think how long it takes. You have to photogrammetry a racetrack inch by inch. Do you know how many miles long a racetrack is? Especially the really, really big ones. You have to do it inch by inch. You have to slowly roll along there. It ain't a quick process. So if
Singer,
you have 15,
I love the fact that you should be on payroll. You are living the dream right now for Xbox. Listen, I'm telling you, listen. How these tracks, how many of these are brand new tracks that were created in the last 10 years, Singer?
3.
And the rest of them are tracks that we've been driving on since Forza Motorsport 2.
Yeah, but you have to redo the tracks because it's a new engine and you need new models and new. How do you think the track?
They've been working on this game since 2017, probably earlier.
Yeah, and then you have to fly around the world. You have to do all the car models. You have to get permission from the manufacturers. You have to wait for the cars because you have to get the cars or go to where the cars are to do the work you have to do to them.
Doesn't every developer that makes a racer have these same issues? So yes. I don't know why you're bringing this up, Singer. Basically, all Forza is saying is release the game after you've done all that crap. Not release it 50% of the way through, and then you doing the rest of it as like this one thing for like saying, or it's an ongoing game, it's a live service game, so it's going to get content updates. We expect that content updates, not basic stuff that's in the game, not like for example, performance modes is basic stuff that's a part of the game. When Shattered Spaces comes off of Starfield, I expect that is new content. That's an expansion / DLC. I expect that to come later. I don't expect you to actually have real maps showing up in a later update like that's new content. That's not new content.
Right.
Performance modes is not new content. Your game was incomplete. That's the problem. Is that you didn't release a completed game, and they didn't tell you the game wasn't complete because they didn't want you to wait until the game was complete to actually play it. Because when you do that, then instead of saying, hey, it sold great on Steam, it was a success. Yes, Starfield was great for us. Instead of saying that, you're talking about like Redfall levels. Not saying this is bad as it's not as bad a game as Redfall, clearly. But when you are releasing an incomplete game, and you're telling people that stuff like this is coming later, they're not going to check your game out. They're going to wait, and they don't want you to wait.
Thing is, how
So
do you
they'd
know
rather
if a
just
racing
not
game-
tell you that it's an incomplete game when they release it. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it's like, so for example, Forza Motorsport 7 had 700 cars on release, right? The new Motorsport had 500 cars on release. So there's a 200 difference. Now, you can't say a racing game is an incomplete game because they constantly add tracks and cars over time. They did this with Gran Turismo, they do this with Forza Horizon. They add new cars, they add new tracks. As they come, they're constantly working on the game, right? So you could release it whenever you want, so long as you have enough cars and tracks for people to enjoy the game, right? And then you have the variations of the tracks. So you can't say it's an incomplete game because a complete racing game is only at the end of its shelf life. That's the only time it's ever complete. It's always a work in progress. So incomplete game doesn't work with racing games.
Okay, so I'm not a racing dude, okay? So I'm not really into this stuff. But I clearly recall, and shout out to Autumn, who joined us on DPS shortly after the game launched. And she went through like a 10-minute monologue of all the things that Forza Motorsport normally has that were missing from this Forza Motorsport at launch. Now, I wish I could remember all those things, but there was a lot of basic stuff that you just typically have. Like, I translate that to me as like how like Battlefield 2042 launched with no scoreboard. Like, that's ridiculous. How do you not for a shooter? How do you not have a scoreboard? That's should be one of the first things that you would think would be available. These are the kind of things that she said was missing. So like, that sounds like an incomplete game, Singer.
It's incomplete because they rushed out in that part. But when Forte brought up cars and the tracks, that isn't classed as an incomplete game. Now, it's an incomplete game if you talk about features, but content is a different story. So yes, it didn't have split screen multiplayer at launch, the ability to race against AI in multiplayer modes, and it didn't have a spectator mode. Now, these were things that 7 had on launch. So yes, they were missing some features, which means they rushed the game out to meet a deadline. But the cars and tracks, that's not part of the
equation. You just answered the question right there. It's like, it doesn't matter how small or how big it is, it's still an issue. It's like,
yeah, it is an issue.
Release it when it's ready. Like if you're going to release a game, you know, it is so foreign nowadays because everybody, for the most part, releases their games undone, with the exception of a few development houses and stuff. But it's just, why do we? Well, I know why, but they know people are going to buy it anyways because people are impatient. People are, excited to play the games that they're looking forward to. But it's like, I always look at it like, if your game, it takes 7 to 8 years to make it, is it really going to hurt you to let it be another 8 to 9 months or another 12 months for you to make sure everything is done before you release it? Because it's already been a decade almost. Like think about Grand Theft Auto is literally not coming out. It didn't even come out last generation, which is by probably design because it was going to take so long to make it. But it's going to be 12 years, 13 years by the time the next one comes out. And listen, Rockstar is definitely going to have some bugs in their game. But for the most part, that game's probably most likely, you never really know nowadays, but it's a good chance that game's going to probably be feature complete. They may delay the multiplayer like they did on, Grand Theft Auto 5, release it 30 days later or something like they did before. But when it comes to like the single player content and everything in the game, it's all going to be there. We can pretty much bet on that. But, you really can't take these developers for anything at this point now. So, I hope that that's the case for that game, but those are the few studios that do just release a game. It's feature complete. And I just miss those days of, when there was a cartridge and you put it in your system and it worked. And there was no patches and there was no updates. Whatever they gave you when you bought it from the store was there. And that was your experience. So I just don't get why these studios feel like they can just shortchange the consumer. But then again, I do know why, because the consumer isn't going to do nothing about it on a mass level, and they're going to continue to let them get away with doing stuff like this. So it doesn't matter how big or small those little instances are, Singer. It's just the fact that they're there and they need to stop being there.
Yeah, they need the features, but I give racing games a pass on the tracks and cars because it takes a long time and effort to do them. So I give them a pass on that. The features I didn't give them a pass on. The only reason I brought it up was because you mentioned the cars and the tracks. So,
no, I didn't mention cars or tracks. I was just talking about I just said Forza in general. I didn't even mention anything about anything in the game. I just said Forza. I just named a whole bunch of games. I just named Forza, Halo, games that all had issues at the beginning.
Well, yeah.
Basically, their last three.
Their last three big games.
They kind of draw it back to Xbox first party games. Their last three games were basically released unfinished. And in the future, I'm hoping in the future, because they got a lot of content coming down the pipeline in the next 18 months, there should be no need to do this anymore. Release games that are clearly unfinished. And I know, we kind of, like Forte said, he kind of wishes that we could go back to when, you got a game and you bought it, a physical copy, and it was a complete game. I mean, these games are complete to the point where there's a beginning and an end for the most part for those kind of games, and you can complete it. But it's like it's rare where you get a game that's fully polished at launch, and I understand that those times are gone, but for basic features, it's just you got to do better than this. Hopefully Hellblade 2 is that, but their last three games not having a performance mode, I think that's a step too far. That's where you really shouldn't have to patch performance in when there are people who prefer to play in performance mode than resolution mode. You're basically telling those people you're not that important to me. And I did want to hit these super chats real quick.
I'm back.
Wait. Go ahead.
So what's up, Meat Puppet? Shout out to you. Thank you, brother. Saying that's why you buy a PlayStation and an Xbox and a PC. So when a developer phones it in, you got options. I would say it's less so them phoning it in and just more so they just didn't have enough time. That's all. I think they work very, very hard under the conditions they have over there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think any developer actually wants to put out an incomplete product, So
yeah, it has nothing to do with the
shout out to you.
developers, I don't think.
Yeah, and having a PlayStation and an Xbox and a PC, it's expensive. But I do hear what you're saying for sure. If you want those options, you do have an option, and that option is to buy those platforms. I hear you. Shout out to Cassie. What's up, baby? How you doing? Thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate you. They never play when you're on StreamYard properly. So,
I noticed that. But if a developer phones it in, make sure you buy the game on PC because the modded community's got you, fam. If there's something wrong with the game, they got you because they will make up for what the developers don't do. And so, yeah, if someone phones it in and you're like, I can't deal with this crap, just have a look at one of the modded.
Unlike console players, PC players stand on fucking business. So go ahead, Nautical.
Yeah, the question I have is, isn't this update only for the Series X2?
It is. It's not for the Series S.
So that's another slap in the face for me when it comes to this. Because I'm sitting there like, okay, so this could have happened a long time ago. This could have happened at launch. Why? And everybody knows this was part of the reason why it wasn't there, because the Series S couldn't handle it. So we had to wait 6 to 7 months, 8 months after launch. Well, whenever this DLC was this month on the 15th. So what's 9 months after launch for us to get the ability to decouple the experiences of two completely vastly infrastructures, well, not infrastructures, but just overall power and with systems and stuff, that just gets on my nerves, man. So now that they showed that they can do this, what's stopping them from doing this with the next game? Like, why is, what's up with Hellblade? So why are we?
Yeah, that parity clause is clearly fucking bullshit. So.
It is, because look,
Yeah.
you're literally separating them right now. So why are we still dealing with this in the future? It should never be a situation where we're being held back on that.
I've been told the parity clause is about content and not performance. So it's parity and content and features, but not necessarily performance. Because this isn't the only game that's had like the Series X has more options in how the game performs than the Series S does. There have been other games that the Series S only has one mode, whereas the Series X and the PS5 will have multiple modes. There have been multiplayer games for the most part, but this isn't the only time that has happened. The only time they really broke the parity clause is with Baldur's Gate 3, with the split screen. But other than that, there have been times where the Series S has had just 1080p 60 or something like that, and then the Series X had like a performance in the resolution mode. But I see you guys' point. Shout out to JD Gamer with the $10 super chat. JD says, Hey y'all are right about Xbox and rushing games out, but I'm gonna need you to keep that same energy about PlayStation releasing games with save issues, broken texture streaming. Where is the Sony quality we expect? JD,
what is he referring to?
What? I guess Spider-Man 2. JD,
okay.
Why are you bringing up PlayStation? Because this is now a topic about place. This is a whataboutism. This is a straw man. You're just throwing this out there to distract away from. And you said, we're right about them rushing games, but that's what we're talking about. But if you want to talk about Spider-Man 2, I spoke about Spider-Man 2 having broken textures, having your character falling through the mat, having all kinds of issues. New Game Plus wasn't available at launch when it should have been. All kinds of things that normally Insomniac would not have these issues with. Spider-Man 2 was extremely buggy, especially from an Insomniac game where normally their games release pretty solid. But that ain't got nothing to do with Starfield or Redfall or Forza Motorsport being rushed, unfinished games. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. JD. Okay. Were you talking about Spider-Man, JD? Shout out to JD with another chat saying, in the last few years, AAA games released have all had issues. Yes. By every publisher, and I'm sick of it, right? But let's not give all the smoke to Xbox. We're just discussing Xbox, like Slomo was saying right now, because that's the topic that came out in the news this week, and that's why we're talking about Xbox.
Right.
But yeah, appreciate you, JD. I always love seeing you, baby.
Anyways. You know what that reminds me of, and there's no shade towards JD, but like when all this news, no, this is not. But when all this news came out earlier this week, at the same time, Circona, aka MPD, had brought out their sales data that they do on a monthly basis, and they showed that Dragon's Dogma 2 was number 1 in sales for the month of March. And I'm just sitting here just looking at this, and Forte will remember I said that like people were complaining about Dragon's Dogma 2 being basically an unfinished, unoptimized mess at launch. And I looked at I had an idea, and I looked up Capcom's I looked
look
up
at what
Capcom's,
Felix said. I'm sorry. Look at what Felix said.
Oh, that's pretty funny. I looked up Capcom's fiscal year and when it ends, and it ended at the end of March, which told me everything I needed to know about why they released Dragon's Dogma 2 when they needed at least another month to come out. And it's just like, well, duh. They wanted it because of the money. and they told their investors, this game's coming out in this fiscal year, it's coming out in this quarter. So don't worry about that. You'll get your dividends. And that's exactly what they did. And the gamers bought it. And that's why they continue to do these kind of things. But it's funny. I bring that up because it's funny. When I said that on Twitter, nobody disagreed with me. Barely anybody cared. At like 10 likes. Everyone seemed to be in agreement. But then when I said something similar about Starfield releasing without 60 FPS, without a performance mode, releasing unfinished, I got a lot of pushback. Shockingly, a lot of pushback from people. It's just interesting that like people tend to forget when you speak on other games having the same problems with the same issues, but then when you talk about their favorite developers, platform, publisher, whoever, they want to say, well, why aren't you talking about XYZ? Well, we did that already, and they're not the topic right now. But thank you, JD Gamer, for the super chat. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
And JD continues with that parody clause is out the door. We need better. I definitely do agree with that, man.
Agree with that. Absolutely.
What's up,
Yes.
mass produce? Felix, that shit was funny as hell, dude. But what's up? All right, what's up, Ren? What's up, Viper? Felix, baby, how you doing? Dear God, True Virgil, Mike. What's up, Crow? How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. What's up, Sly? What's up, Lisa? PS, Rewind, Ehead, was good? Lano, baby. Okay, yeah. Anyway, we just the great Be Rich. What's up? Okay. Oh, right. So let's talk about. What's up, Hero Down Under? Hope you're doing well. Let's talk about. Oh, True Bleed, how you doing? Ren, how you doing? Okay, Briarios, how you doing? Okay, so let's talk about Helldivers 2. So here's the thing. I've said it before and I'll say it again. PC gamers are the only gamers that fucking stand on business, dude. They're literally the only fucking gamers that stand on business. They are the only ones who actually, I wouldn't say less so put the money where their mouth is in this situation, because there's still a shit ton of players on Helldivers 2 right now, right? But like when it comes,
I meant to check that. Let me go do that real quick. Go ahead.
It's still high, but they haven't brought in the mandatory PSN yet. When that
that's
mandatory comes in,
Monday.
Yep. When that comes in, watch that player can drop like a brick because they stand up business. People won't sign up. Like, you can't force them.
Is this the lowest it's been? It's at 87K right now.
I think it was like 100K earlier.
Oh, it was at 100K earlier. What's up? Yeah, you could check like past days, right? On that?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Check past days. What's up, Harry? How you doing, buddy? Okay, so I did want to say this, right? So yeah, well, at least when it comes to like the reviews for Helldivers 2, that shit's looking spooky as fucking hell, dude. And the thing about PC gamers, again, like I said, they will put their money where their mouths is. You can say a lot of things about PC gamers, but one thing they know how to do, again, is stand on fucking business, bro. They actually...
It's been lower, actually. It's been down to 50K at one point.
Oh, okay.
Yesterday it was.
So, okay, so as you can see here, Helldivers 2, which had extremely positive reviews, right? That shit is sitting at mostly negative / mixed right now because of this thing right here.
It's so funny.
Yep.
So PSN. Okay, so Helldivers 2 is now implementing a PSN mandate in which you have to have a PSN account in order to access the game on PC. Now, people were concerned about this in regards to how it would affect unsupported regions, because not every region has access to PSN, right? But the developers have stated that the PSN mandate will not stop players in unsupported regions from playing the game, and devs will be looking for better options. Now, here's what the community manager initially said when this conversation started out. Now, here's the thing, right? I've been saying this for years now. I've said it in the most prominent time I said it was when, in regards to Outriders. That fucking community manager made me sick to my fucking stomach, dude. They were just embarrassing. Just absolutely fucking embarrassing. I was like, dude, I don't often say stuff like this because it's a very difficult time. I think everyone should be employed, right? But like, he definitely was not in the right position. He should not have had that job given his behavior in that moment, right? But yeah, so Spitz said it's not like this is the first or even the 14th mainstream game to require a third-party account that takes a couple of minutes to create. But if it's a deal breaker to have to take 120 seconds out of your day to enter an email and password, and then forget about it, change your Steam review and make your displeasure known on a platform where it matters.
They sure did.
And that's exactly what these motherfuckers
They
did, man.
sure did.
That's
They said
they were like, bet.
They said bet.
They said, say fucking less, dude.
Say no
less.
more.
Say no more. Oh, you thought? Okay, yes, we will do exactly that then. All right, cool.
Oh man.
Cool.
Say less.
Hey, look, man. Look, they should have known. They should have known this was going to happen, because that's, even though I think the position of these PC gamers is borderline hypocritical and really silly, because it really ain't got, like, are you serious right now? So you telling me none of y'all have played a Ubisoft game through Steam?
No, but
None of y'all played Red Dead 2 through Steam? None? You guys weren't playing with Sea of Thieves, which also requires you to sign, log in for Xbox Live. Like, come on, this ain't that big a deal. And all of a sudden, like 200,000 gamers on Helldivers 2 live in Bali, and all you guys are like in an area with no PSN. Like, I understand you're trying to fight the fight for the little guy, but like, can I even hear from the little guy first? Like, come on now. Like, what are y'all doing?
There is a difference though when a game came out and didn't require something and then they added it later, versus all those games you named, you had to log into those launchers on the day that you got the game to do it.
Okay, I understand that, but to not
you
get
bought the
like
game knowing that
no. Wait, hold on now. It was always there. They just didn't read it.
The fact that it wasn't there, but this is the thing we were talking about before.
It was there.
We're gonna talk about the same thing,
when you go to the Steam page, it says eventually you will have to be required to have a PSN account to access the game. It says it there. So even though it wasn't enforced for whatever reason, they said they had some kind of technical issue or whatever, it was still there.
But was it something that they I don't even know how to say it.
Nobody reads the fucking terms and conditions.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
Exactly.
I mean,
they didn't come out and
they
say
should have
that.
made it more clear. They just should have made it more clear.
Absolutely. They should have at least had a better way of rolling this out, because them saying this within a week, you I mean, even though it takes like 40 seconds or whatever to do this, but to get people used to the idea of it, which, I mean, you're basically just linking your Steam account to the PSN account. It's not like you're logging into like a launcher or something that's going to be running in the background on your PC, but like, they should have gave people more time than essentially 4 or 5 days to get around this, especially. And then also with Arrowhead, the developer, not knowing what to say and what to do about people who do live in territories that don't have PSN. Like, all of this should have been explained from Sony to Arrowhead ahead of time, so that when people have these questions, they already got an answer right away saying, this is what you need to do. Or if you live in this territory, you can sign up for a US account and it's fine. And Sony has cleared it. They're not going to ban you or whatever. All of these things could have been done. And I definitely say Sony needs to get better at this kind of stuff, because if you're going to start doing live service games and a lot more multiplayer games, these are the kind of things that other developers, other publishers, other platforms have already worked out and understand how to communicate with communities like that. So this is things that they got to get better at. All that said, it's a free damn account. You don't even need to put your credit card information in.
But I hear you,
All
Slow-Mo.
you giving up is an email address,
I
bruh.
hear, listen, man, I hear you, and I'm with you for the most part. Because for me, I don't mind doing that stuff. I don't really care about it all that much. But at the same time, it's like if they don't want it, then they don't want it. You know what I'm saying? And if
Cool. Yep.
and they made their displeasure known, and it actually got at least the attention of the fucking developers. It got the attention of developers. That community manager, again, I think he said the wrong thing. I think that he should have.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Definitely
Yeah.
handled the situation better. I understand that we are human, and so we react to negativity. We're more likely to react to negativity than positivity. It's just how it is, right? But I think that given his job title and position, he should not have responded in the manner in which he responded, telling folks like, "Ayo, just
That first sentence is a doozy. I love that first sentence.
yeah, like being sarcastic with your user base and it's just not a good look, man. It never really goes over well, regardless of how justified you may or may not be in that particular instance,
Yeah.
right? So I'm gonna share this, right? And Singer, I know you wanted to respond to Slow-Mo, so I'm gonna let you do that in a moment. But a shout out to Meat Puppet saying the PSN login for Helldivers 2 is a money grab, in my opinion. I don't know how it would be a money grab because
Yeah, they already got the money. These are people who bought the game already, so it's not. You're not spending more money. It's like I think some people have it confused. They think they gotta sign up for PS Plus or something. Like you don't have to. No, you just have to create a PSN account, which is there's no cost to that. So
yeah. So Spitz, he came through. He's like, internal discussions are ongoing about the mandatory Lincoln change. And while I can't reveal details, the response from our dev team has been pretty universally negative, and we're looking for better options. Now, I do want to say this, right? I want to clarify my statement from earlier. I think that this is the correct response and the reasonable response, right?
yeah,
Making a petition, right? And putting your fucking face out there talking about how you want to see some fucking bouncing titties, bro. That's a little bit much. All right. So I'm just drawing some, that I feel like when it comes to, I don't mind boycotts. I support boycotts for the most part. You as a consumer have every right to spend your money in whatever way you want to, as long as you're not trying to guilt people or try to coerce people into feeling the same way that you feel. I don't like I don't like that kind of shit, right? But you yourself, you do whatever you want to do with your money, right? But yeah, I just want to make it clear, like that's the distinction there. I do think that there's a way to go about these things in a way that does not embarrass me. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, I got secondhand embarrassment. That's a personal thing. All right. So Spitz continues with, if a better solution isn't provided for players who are in regions without the PSN coverage, I'm assured that we will not be making the requirement mandatory for those players. We're not going to force people to either break Sony TRS or not play the game. That change, the Steam announcement, and the frequently asked questions are all coming from Sony and not our team. Yeah, I was completely unaware of how many countries did not have the ability to make a PSN account when I made that statement. I deeply regret implying that it was so easy for everyone to just sign up and not have to worry about it. It's absolutely not our intention to force people to break Sony TOS and just not play the game if they're in a restricted region. There needs to be a better solution. Hey, what are the developers like nationality?
I don't know. I'll look up Arrowhead and see.
Yeah, let me you can let me know what that is. And shout out to JD saying I know
They are from Sweden.
Sweden. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I do want to say that generally speaking, that kind of mentality is more seen in the Western market, in the sense that you just think that every other fucking place is exactly like where you're at, and that's just not the case, man. Shout out JD with another super chat. Appreciate you, brother, saying most PC people will continue to play Helldivers, but they will lose players because of this nonsense. The question is, how many will they lose? And that's a good question, because we will see how far the folks stand on the business. So, Singer, go ahead if you still remember what you were going to say.
Yeah, no, I was going to go into my whole thing.
Ninja, he did?
What?
RK just said that Kendrick just dropped another. Stop it!
No, again?
Again?
Wow.
There's no fucking way, dude. You're fucking with me, dude. You're just fucking with me. You're just fucking with me, right? You're just fucking with me.
Drake's over there like, I haven't even responded back yet.
You keep getting away with this. Nah, bro, you're just fucking. Oh no, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Bitch,
Oh
I'm
my
sorry. Go ahead.
God.
See what you gotta do. Say, I gotta listen to this, bro. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh dear. Well, I mean, half the people are gonna listen to anyway, so I may as well just whistle. Okay. So, in pushback for the Helldivers thing, it's going to be there's 194 countries and Steam's available in all of them. So when you put a game on Steam, you're selling to all 194 countries. Now, PSN only covers 70 countries. So there's a discrepancy here because you have all these countries and PSN is only available in 70. So all the people in the countries that are not there, they are now fucked. So yeah, a vast majority will be upset. And yes, VPN does exist, but that's breaking PlayStation Terms of Service. And if you do that, you're not covered if something goes wrong. If something goes wrong and your VPN to another country, PlayStation won't help you. They'll wash your hands with you. Right? So there's a ton of issues with that. Now, for proof of what's happening, if you see on the Twitter, like people are talking about it. Like, as someone who lives in Estonia, I cannot even make PSN account. So game technically is blocked for me. This guy's from Lithuania. One reason I never invested into PS, even Microsoft gives at least PC Game Pass and Nintendo, the company that doesn't know what internet is supporting us fully. So these people from these countries are making their voices heard, and they must have known about this ahead of time, because you don't sell it to every single country in the world and then all of a sudden pull something like this. That is the issue, because now all these people, their purchase is worthless. And then the next tweet, you have the CEO of Arrowhead, and he even says, as you can see, outright in the review score, I guess it's warranted. Sorry, everyone, to how all this transpired. I hope we'll make it up again and regain the trust by providing a continued great game experience. I just want to make great games. So even the CEO is like, it's warranted. Like, they're not even mad. And then obviously the community manager on the Discord, Twinbeard, first of all, it's Sony's decision, not ours, which obviously makes sense. I don't think Arrowhead wanted this. And they didn't have any details about region-related issues yet, so they were chasing Sony. And as we saw, and to show how scummy Sony was, check this out, right? May the 3rd to May the 4th, right? Here's May the 3rd. Do I have to sign into PSN to play a PlayStation game on PC? Signing into the PSN is optional while playing a PlayStation game on PC, right? May the 4th. Some PlayStation games may require you to sign in and link to an account for PSN. So these guys, in a matter of a day, immediately changed the wording so they could get out of it, which is crazy in of itself. Then, obviously, there's more of that. Then a ton of negative review scores. The thing was going wild. And then there's this funny meme, which is hilarious. You see that? Anyone?
Yeah, no, I hear
No.
what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I'm so sorry. I was listening
we
to
know
this
what they
fucking
doing.
But yeah, I did see that shit earlier, and I was like, that's fucked, dude. That's fucked up. Crazy, man.
Everybody was listening to the diss track.
I know.
Exactly. I know. I just did all that.
Singer. I'm sorry, Singer.
I did get the gist of what you were saying, though. Like,
No,
the other regions are speaking up.
It's fine, you know. That's why I was like, okay, no one's listening anyway. I could have just disrespected someone because no one was listening.
You should have disrespected. You should have said shit about slow mo.
I should have just you know. I should have said fuck all this, fuck all you, fuck everyone. But
Should've
no,
Man,
called
you
the
could have got
N-word in
away
there.
with a
I'm
whole
just
bunch
kidding.
of stuff
I'm
for
just
that
kidding.
little
I'm
20
just kidding.
seconds.
yeah. Like, I mean, for whoever listens back afterwards, there we go. At least you had something pretty good.
No, listen again. I
to
do
listen to.
the gist of what you were saying, right? Like these other regions are speaking up about it, right?
And then
As they
there's
should,
more
though.
to it.
Yeah.
Because as the Ackman said,
Ugh,
pretty funny, the community who has been... I know, but it's...
I know.
Pretty funny that the community who has been trained to focus their efforts on a single goal managed to coordinate 100,000 plus negative reviews in real life. Our training paid off because
That's
obviously
fucking
everyone
awesome,
in the
dude.
game works towards the same goal. And Steam has started to refund players
That's awesome,
now
dude.
over the 2-hour time limit. This guy had 200 odd hours on it.
Damn, getting a refund over this though is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie, but hey, it's his
Well,
prerogative, man.
Some people just... Because the problem is, a lot of people who were there day one, they disabled it, right? And it's an option. You didn't need a PSN option. So tons of people played the game. And that's why countries that don't have PSN available in their country, they bought the game. Because they're like, oh, cool, it's an option. I could just skip it.
Singer, do you think the vast majority of people playing Helldivers 2 are living in countries that did not have PSN?
A lot of them. I think quite
What's
a
a
few
lot,
live.
though?
Come on now.
Like 5%?
Yeah, 5 or 10%, but that's 5 or 10% people who
5 to 10% of that player base?
Yeah.
That's a drop in a bucket, man.
Yeah, but no, you bought the game, yeah, and now you're telling me I'm locked out of my purchase. Of course I should be able to refund the game. The proof in point as well is they did this with Rocket League. Where's the tweet? Because Rocket League got... Yeah, here we go. Nope, wrong one. There it is. The same situation happened when Rocket League dropped max support on Steam. Those players were able to get a refund. Because Valve did that, because they dropped the support. So the same thing happened with Rocket League, a similar thing. So because it locked out a whole bunch of Mac players from playing Rocket League, and they bought the game on Steam. But when Steam got moved off Mac, there we go. All those players couldn't play the game.
That's a bit different. That's like you can't play the game on... They couldn't play the game on Mac at all?
Yeah, they dropped... Rocket League dropped the Mac
This is
support
so
on Steam.
different than that. This is sign up for PSN and keep playing the game.
No,
where you bought it.
But what happens if your country doesn't have PSN? There's 194 countries. It's only available in 70.
That the vast majority of the people complaining. I guarantee you, all them Steam reviews that tank their Steam reviews. Them people live in countries that have PSN.
Hey, the people are sticking together. They banded together as
just say it. Look, I respect their hustle. But just say it what it is. Like they using this whole, hey, look, I live in Bali and I live in Bosnia and I can't, look, no, y'all all live there, okay? You live in freaking Kansas.
You're the one who said that Xbox should be more considerate of other regions, right?
Yeah.
In this instance,
yes.
PlayStation should be more considerate of other regions. Just because it's not a significant portion of people doesn't mean it doesn't matter, man.
Hey, Slow,
no,
I didn't
that.
say that.
No,
I'm saying the people who are doing the majority of the complaining aren't being affected.
Yes, I was going to continue and clarify that I know that's not what you're saying, right? But I think I'm with Singer. I think it's awesome that they're sticking together when it comes to this stuff. Even if they have to lie about it, let them lie. If that's what's going to get Sony's attention, I'm all for it, man.
Hey, Slow-Mo, can you read that on the screen real quick? This is Sony's practice, right? What does that say in there highlighted?
Signing into PSN is optional when playing a PlayStation game on PC. Yes,
right.
And then they changed it to some PlayStation games may require you to sign in and link. Okay.
In a matter of days. So basically, they told you don't need a PSN to play PlayStation games on PC. Now they're telling you, oh yeah, by the way, you need one. Okay. And this is 3 months after the game launched.
Is that where that was? Was that on the Steam page for Helldivers 2?
It was on the Steam page. You need an account, but they disabled it. Right now, a lot of people who bought the game wouldn't have read that or known about it being disabled because it popped up on the screen. You had the option, when you loaded up the game, you had the option to press the skip button. But now you're making it mandatory 3 months later after all these people bought the game thinking they didn't need to have a Sony account because you could skip it. So 3 months later, you're now forcing everyone to get a PSN or you can't play the game.
Let me clarify what I'm saying here. Okay. I absolutely get if you live in a country that doesn't have PSN, you bought this game, you've been enjoying it, you put 500 hours into it, you have a right to be angry, and the changes they're making to make sure that you don't get blocked out of the game, that it's still optional or just not mandatory for you. This is things that Sony should have had lined up from the very start. This whole kerfuffle is Sony's fault in the sense that they didn't communicate effectively with Arrowhead to let Arrowhead know what they were doing, how this was going to work. And they should have been it should have been them telling Arrowhead that we only have PSN in 69 countries, not the gamers who are being potentially locked out of the game. That said, the majority of the people complaining about this, 1, aren't in those countries. 2, are only upset because something changed that they didn't want to do. And that's it. Which is fine. If you don't want to do it, this is your Steam account. You can stop playing the game like the community manager said, even though he shouldn't have been so honest. But cut the crap. The game, you love the game. You're only upset because you don't want to link your Steam account to a PSN account. It has nothing to do with other people. It's about you and what you don't want to do. But a lot of these people had no problem doing that with other services. And that's all I'm saying. A lot of these guys are hypocrites. But
also, a lot of those other services required
about are valid. It's just not valid to them.
And honestly speaking, again, it's like you also had said, they are in their right to do so, and I'm with them.
Yeah.
I agree with what they're doing. I don't think there's any problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. I understand what you're saying, but I don't actually think that. I don't know. It's for me because it's like the fact that they changed the TOS or whatever the fuck that they changed to update it to be more reflective to. Well, if that's true, if that's even because I don't even know if that shit's true. It's just a fucking screenshot. I don't know if that shit's true or not, right? But if that's true, I think that ain't a little shady. That's not a little suspicious, you know?
It is because they found you rolled back and they changed the word in the day after, obviously, to cover their asses. But as you can see on screen, Sucker Punch, because they know Ghost of Tsushima's coming up on the 16th, and they don't want to get caught in the smoke. They already, as you can see on the tweet, a PSN account isn't required. Is required for the online multiplayer mode and to use the overlay. It's not required to play the single player game. So we'll have to see how long that lasts. And then if in 3 months they mandate that you have to have PSN, then
the PSN is going to be for the multiplayer.
Yep. And then shout out to this was a fantastic own goal because a lot of people were comparing it to how you need a Microsoft account to play Minecraft, right? Now, on PlayStation, as you can clearly see from the screenshot, there's a big red button that says skip, right? When you need to sign into your Microsoft account. So you actually don't need an account. The only reason you need an account is for cross progression. Helldivers 2 doesn't have cross progression. So, again, you can't even call Microsoft into question because Minecraft doesn't need an account. The only reason you have the account is so you can have cross progression. There's a big red skip button. So you can't even use that excuse. So Sony just pulled a fast one. I reckon it's to boost their monthly active users. It's coming to that time of the year. They probably need to bump it up. Say like, right, let's get all the Helldivers 2 mega successful. Get them all onto PSN. And then we can go, look how much our monthly active users grew. And that's their reason for doing it, in my opinion. They claim it's for security reasons. Your PlayStation and you're saying, join PSN. We'll look after you. We don't have any security problems over here. It's just funny how they all of a sudden did it, and that's the main issue. Is you did it 3 months later, and now all these people can't play the game. And Arrowhead got blasted when it was Sony's fault. It's not Arrowhead's fault. Arrowhead didn't even know. So it is what it is. The game will be reviewed, and then once the requirement comes in, we'll have a look at the player numbers, revisit this, I think. And if they vastly drop off, then it is what it is. People stood on business.
Yeah. Okay. So real quick, shout out to Blade saying, "I hope PC gamers got the same energy for Ghosts." They will. They will. So.
Well, they will, because Sucker Punch already told you to play the single player. You don't need a PSN. Not required. So all those countries that don't have PSN, they can play the single player. They can't play the multiplayer, but they can play the single player.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just go ahead and continue on. So shout out to Spitz once again. Again, listen, if your fan base and your community base is coming to you, depending on the context, okay, and the level in which they're responding, all right. And again, this is all just my opinion. You are free to disagree. I'm all for it, baby. But Spitz says, nobody should feel bad for me, to be honest. I let the negativity get under my skin and gave a few people an attitude. That's on me. I completely understand why people are upset at the required account linking. I'm not thrilled about it either. And my suggestion to people to change their reviews to negative was completely genuine. There are good and bad ways to express discontent. And coming after the the developers and the moderators in here is not the solution and will not get the decision changed. People are emotional, and rightfully so. Many of them will not be able to play the game anymore. It sucks. I'm not trying to attack anyone for being displeased with the change. I'm just trying to protect my team from the backlash, so I jumped on the grenade. Okay. I don't mind that response. I think that's a good response. It's taking accountability. It's acknowledging, like, hey, you know, I totally understand where you guys are coming from. I fucked up. I shouldn't have said what I fucking said.
I feel like that was all cap. I
Listen,
feel like he meant every word he said, and they said you need to go fix this.
He definitely meant what he said, because he wouldn't have said
what
it.
he said. Exactly.
But my
so that
thing
whole,
I understand. No, I hear what you're saying, but his job as a community manager is to put a PR spin on things.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to appease the community. He needs to relay the community's discontent to the developer, and then in turn come through and tell the community what the developer said in turn, right? So it's like he needs to have a PR spin to it. Even if it's bullshit, even if he doesn't actually feel this way, which he probably doesn't, he has to come out and say it like this in order to try and appease the fan base, because that's his fucking job, dude. Now, again, the validity of his statement, we can question that 100%. I think it's cap, but it's his job to fucking cap. So it's all good with me.
I mean, as long as you're getting paid to do it.
Yeah. People are making what threats? Oh yeah, kick them ninjas out, bro. That shit's fucking weird. It's weirdo behavior. Now, review bombing, that's one thing. Bomb threats, that's insane. All right.
What I do have to say is shout out to the real ones who stuck with me even though the diss track dropped and you all went to go listen to it. Shout out to the real ones who stayed. Stand up in the chat. You real G's.
Nah, shout out to them, because I definitely didn't. Or shout out to Clifton saying it's over. Kendrick just dropped again. Drake fight back, ninja. All right, I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all. Y'all gonna jump me if I say that I think Kendrick should have waited for Drake to respond again?
Oh boy.
Are y'all gonna jump me?
Huh?
I said, are you guys going to jump me if I say that I think that Kendrick should have waited for Drake to actually respond to Meet the Rams?
No, overwhelm him. This is like a boxing fight. Just keep keep overwhelming him with punches until he just falls in the fetal position. But no, Wario 64 says that Helldivers 2 on Steam is now unavailable to purchase in numerous countries after it was announced that PSN login will soon be required. Steam has also been approving refund requests for players even if they played over 2 hours, which that Steam always does that when there is a big.
But they should have had that at launch. But people who are unable to have PSN in their country shouldn't have been able to buy the game to begin with, and that is Sony's fault. So, good job on Steam giving the refunds, but we expect that because Steam is the most community, player-friendly store out there by far.
So what does it mean when Wario says they took it down? Like, do they plan on doing something with it, or?
Oh no, they didn't take the game. Is still available. Like overall, it's just not available in the country. So what you do is you'll probably go to the page, and then you won't see the buy button. So so for all these countries, a lot of countries here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you live in those countries, you can't buy the game anymore.
Because it doesn't have PSN isn't available there.
That's quite a few. I mean, I'm assuming that is quite a few players who may be
That
speaking
is.
up in their discontent, Mr. Mo. So
Do you know how many Eastern European
No,
players
these are
there
just countries.
Come on.
These are just countries. We don't know how many players are in these countries. It could be
That's
less
true.
players than the actual countries here.
But it could also be more. We don't know. We don't know.
Is there a single person in Togo that's on Helldivers too? I don't know. Rwanda, Sudan,
But that's the thing, dude. Like,
San
we don't know.
Marino,
That's the thing.
Somalia. Exactly, we don't know.
We don't know. So you
I'm saying,
can't say that it's like all the people or the people who are speaking up and expressing their discontent aren't a part of these folks here.
I said the majority.
There could be a significant portion of these people actually speaking up. We don't know.
Also, do you know how many people
I am fairly certain that the majority of the people, you add up all the people in these countries, and they don't equal all the people that are in the United States that's playing the game.
I feel like that's a fair assessment, but I still am of the belief, right, that we just don't know for sure. So it's completely possible that there are more people than one would expect actually speaking up about this issue who happen to be in these particular countries. Now, was this game okay, so they took these games off?
Yeah.
They
So
took the game off?
this happens sometimes. Like for example, when EA decided they wanted to try to force everyone on PC to buy their games through their EA launcher, they made the games on Steam unavailable, and so the Steam page is still there. You can't buy the game from it no more.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing happened with the day before. We know that scam game. When they got caught out on their scam, they took the buy button away. Eventually, the page went down because they were a scam. But I doubt the page will go down for Helldivers 2 in those regions. They just can't buy the game anymore.
Also, I can tell Slow-Mo's talking from an ignorant kind of place because you don't know how many gamers are in Eastern Europe. You know how many people play games in Lithuania?
Oh my God.
Slovenia, Slovakia, all these Eastern European countries.
Let me repeat again, because apparently you are hard of hearing early in the morning, Singer. I said the majority of the gamers are in the United States. Are you telling me that Eastern freaking Europe has more players playing this game than the United States? Is that what you're saying?
Probably not. No.
Probably not. Then shut up. Thank you.
You're saying that there's more gamers in China than America, so it's not.
Oh yeah, that's easily true. America ain't got shit on China when it comes to gaming.
That doesn't mean.
Well, you did say the majority of the people were like Americans. So it's,
exactly.
Yeah, and they are still American. Yeah, the majority of people playing the game are Americans.
But he said there's more gamers in China than America. Are there more gamers?
That doesn't mean
that
they're playing
the game, Lord Charms. Like, because he's talking specifically about this game, about how many players are playing. This game.
I just.
Are you okay?
I ain't talking about it no more. I ain't gonna talk about it no more.
Are you sure?
Because people are just too stupid to understand what the discussion is. So I'm not gonna talk the stupid no more. I'm just not gonna do it. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Hero Down Under. I appreciate it. The information. I got you. Okay. I could have, I think it's like not allowed on Xbox, so maybe that's why I thought it wasn't allowed on PlayStation. I think it's not allowed on Xbox. I don't know that shit for sure, dude. But thank you for the additional information. I do appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, no. Okay. Okay, so the Philippines accounts for 20% of the player base. So the player base for the game, Anbu, Yeah, I definitely think that there's a lot of folks in other countries playing this. Someone's just saying it's the majority. A majority Americans are.
I'd say it's below 50% America because there's so many other countries in the world and so many other players. Because if Philippines is 20% in of itself, then even if you add up all the Eastern European countries, that's probably another 20, and then you have the majority left, so it would still be under 50 anyway. So the majority wouldn't make sense in this case, if that's
Yeah.
the case.
I mean, I'm sure
How
there's
do you
definitely
know
a
the
way.
Philippines is 20%?
I thought you weren't talking about this anymore, Slow.
I just asked the question.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, if you could provide some
Yeah.
sources for that, that'd be great. Because I feel like there's definitely a way to like.
I think you could search it by country.
I don't really know how that kind of stuff works. Exactly. I wish there was. I'm sure there's a way to break it down by region, right? When it comes to these games, because people care about that stuff, right? Like there are typically reports about that stuff.
Well, all those Steam charts tells you how many people are playing. I don't know. I've never seen it break it down by region. So.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll see on when they introduce the PSN thing, what the total number of players are, and then you could do the math. What was the peak amount of players? What's half of that? If there's less than half, then that means it wasn't a majority.
That's not how that works, because then you'll have the people, very people I'm talking about, who are going, and you know how PC the community is, they're not going to sign up, and so they're not going to play the game anymore. And so you can't say, oh, these people weren't in the United States, simply because they do also have the choice to not play the game and not sign up for PSN. So you just can't say that, oh, well, the majority were from outside the United States or outside or in these regions where the game is now no longer available, and while ignoring that there's a choice that people will just not play the game.
Yeah, well, I will say this. I think that overall there may be more people who are upset about this who actually reside in those countries than you would think. That's my perspective on it. I'm not saying like there's not a majority there that has access to the PSN and are just what a kerfuffle. Well, I don't know what that means, but throwing a fit. Is that the same thing as kerfuffle?
Yeah, basically
throwing a fit because they just don't like the change for themselves. Like, I definitely think that's completely plausible, and I think that is the more that's the explanation that does make the most sense, in my opinion. All I'm saying is that I don't think there's anything wrong with them coming through and expressing their discontent, even if they don't reside in those countries. I don't think there's anything wrong with them showing solidarity in that respect. But I understand what you're saying. I know that you're not saying that there's anything wrong with it per se. You're just saying that it makes them hypocrites, right? I get that. I'm just saying as well that I don't have a problem with it. And I also do think that there may be more people who reside in these countries speaking up about it than one might believe initially, just because of the countries that happen to be listed. But I get what you're saying for sure.
Cool.
What's up, Di? How you doing, baby?
Agent Deli in the house.
Yes.
AKA Die.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. It's a bad time when the ponies are agreeing with you, Slow-Mo. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you, bro.
Well, I mean, the ponies are, because I have witnessed the most.
Those are fine people. Those are fine people.
This week, next week, you're going to be calling them whores, bro. I know how you move.
No, the thing is, if you looked at Twitter, these people bent into pretzels to defend Sony over this Helldivers 2 thing. It was shitty what they did, and you should call them out for it. Shout out to Porterak, he called it out. And a few other people. But then you have people like, oh, let's get the knee pads on. let's get to bootlicking for Sony, as you know, people
bro,
do.
real quick. Hold on. Look at the fucking trending. He dropped again.
Yeah.
He's already dead. A minor, Kendrick. Oh my fucking god, dude. This shit is crazy. But shout out to Texas saying,
I had to pause it when he said the bar about watch out for your daughters. I was like, all right. let me just pause this because I need to listen to this in detail.
all right, so time to strike the
yeah.
chord, and it's probably a minor, Kendrick, Petty, Pendergrass, Lamar. I need a Jersey response in 24 fucking hours. Actually, like I said before, yeah, I just would have liked Drake to get a chance to respond before Kendrick dropped again, because I'm still digesting that fucking line, dude. Okay, we can talk about it in a moment, but okay, go ahead, Singer. Sorry I interrupted you.
Can't remember what I was gonna say, but yeah, it's basically the bootlickers and e-pads came out today again for Sony, because Sony can never do anything wrong, even though they really fucked up in this situation by not telling Arrowhead about the whole PSN situation not being available in different countries, and they just released the game and now they're taking all the heat. So
But isn't that
shout
like
out to you.
common knowledge that PSN isn't available in different countries?
Yeah, but as they said, they weren't told about this issue would
Mhm.
come up. Like Arrowhead wasn't informed. That's why they were chasing Sony for the information as like what's going on here. Because they introduced it like, oh, this is normal, this is perfectly fine. But then all of a sudden now you hit this issue and they don't know what to do with themselves. And even as the CEO of Arrowhead said, it's like the review bombing and everything is warranted, and we're trying to fix the situation. So they understand. It's like we didn't know this was going to happen, so it's on Sony for not telling them when we introduce this PSN. You can't sell the game to all the countries. You have to limit who you could sell it to, and they didn't put that limit on there. So
Okay, no, I understand what you're saying there. It is. I think it's shady, personally. Now, you guys can disagree, and that's perfectly fine. I have no issues with y'all disagreeing with me on that, but I do think it's shady, and I don't think there's anything wrong with PC players speaking up and letting their voices be heard. What we gonna do if he drops a 4 fucking one, right? What the fuck are we gonna do? Like, what is going on, man? But anyway, we can just move on from this Helldivers 2 thing. Oh, so Xbox, I believe they are coming out with another showcase. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Phil Spencer, he comes through every once in a while to just offer his, offer his thoughts, let us know that he's okay, here we go. Okay, if this post can expand, that would be great. So we are excited to share updates from our partners and our own creative teams across Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, and Xbox Game Studios. Tune in at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on June 9th for Xbox Game Showcase, followed by Redacted Direct, right? And that, what is that, like Call of Duty or something?
that is Call of Duty. Yeah, it's people already figured it out from the the insiders knew about it already, but you could see the Activision logo in the bottom corner, and you could also see the wolf heads. All that signals Call of Duty. So yeah, it was obvious it was Call of Duty.
Look at your DM.
All right, let's check. Hero Down Under says one of the main reasons PSN doesn't exist in those particular countries is that those countries have some volatile currencies. That's good information to know. Oh man, come on now. Let them breathe, man. Goddamn.
Oh my God. These memes are great.
They're rappers, Meat Puppet. We're about to actually talk about them in a couple minutes, so you can. I mean, if you don't want to hear this part, I completely understand. I definitely understand. But yeah, recommend you a film. Go watch Abigail. Yeah, go watch Abigail. That one's pretty good. I really enjoyed my time with that one. It's in theaters right now. It's a vampire film. It's fun. But yeah, so are you guys excited for? I'm not excited for the showcase, dude. But you know what? I'm waiting. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be awesome. I will be watching it, right? I'm just not like feeling hype, but that's like my own personal thing. I'm not super hyped for gaming stuff right now. Or I haven't been super hyped for gaming stuff in in a while. Like, I feel like I lose my drive pretty easily sometimes when it comes to these games. The last game I played to completion and was like really vibing with it and was like playing a lot of it was Persona 3 Reload, which I beat and almost got all the achievements on. But for me, I'm not super excited. But for everyone else who may be excited for it, I think that's awesome. Those are some. It's
gonna be great because
Yeah.
hopefully because there's games that I'm interested in that they like. I want to see more Fable. Super interested in that game. Will play it day one. I want them to show a bit more of Avowed. That'd be fantastic. That's almost guaranteed to be at the show because it's releasing later this year. It's a bit of Fable. I also want to see first look at State of Decay 3 finally because I'm a huge fan of the series. I want to see what they've done new. So there's a few games to looking out for. You could keep the Hellblade trailers and all that kind of thing. That's not going to excite me, but those 3 games will excite me.
What about you, Nautical?
I mean, I just
You could be on it and be honest.
I'm not excited. I haven't. It's like this whole all this stuff going on with Xbox just kind of drains the excitement out of it. Now, there's games that we definitely want to look at and see, but it's like at a certain point, it's like it's more interesting to see what they're going to say about. It's more interesting to see if they're going to talk about games going other places than the games that are actually coming out, because they're at a certain point right now where we know all of these games are going to come. We know that they're going to start giving dates for them. You know, there's a whole bunch of games from 2020 that they still haven't shown off over the course of the last 4 years. So there's a lot to be excited for, but it's just Xbox sucked all the excitement out of it earlier this year. You know, it started out really strong in January with the showcase and then the news of games going other places and all this other stuff, which I'm not surprised by because they've been telling people for years that you don't need to have an Xbox and this is all kind of set up for what they did. So even though I'm definitely going to watch it and you know, more likely enjoy it, it just comes down like it's not really something to be excited for right now. And that's with Hellblade coming out this month. And that's a game that I'm really looking forward to. But even that game, I'm like, okay, that game's coming and I'll enjoy it and I'll play it. And it's just, you know, I don't know, man. Xbox just kind of took all the fun out of everything that they had coming out or announcing this year with just this bad stuff that's been going on with them.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not hyped for the showcase. It's just the only way I'm going to see what's next for Fable State of Decay 3 is at the showcase. So I have
so you got to watch it.
Yeah, so I have to, but it's not like I'm excited about everything Xbox is going to do. Phil comes on stage, I'm going to wave my panties in the air, you know?
No.
Like, no, it's not going to happen. So, although that is one hell of a title for a showcase, the Xbox Activision Blizzard. Whew, that's a title right there.
Yeah. Part of it's going to be after the show when it.
Well, yeah, of course. Everyone's going to tune in for Call of Duty, so I guarantee it's going to be the most viewed show ever.
I'm actually really more interested about what's happening after the showcase than before.
Well, the majority of people tuning in will be there just for Call of Duty. Like that's just is what's going to be what it's going to be.
Alrighty.
Oh, what a good one is? We should. So what is the over and under? More people watching the Call of Duty part of it after the showcase, or more people watching the Xbox showcase?
I think both would do big numbers, but the Call of Duty
one's
one's
gonna
going
be
to do
bigger?
more.
I think
They're
the Call of
definitely
Duty-
Call of Duty one.
But the thing is, if they run it all as one show, like they did with the Starfield Direct, you'll be watching the same stream. They won't change over, so it adds to Xbox's numbers. So the numbers will be similar because it'll be all one
Oh,
video.
you can definitely tell when you look at it, be like, oh man, there's way more people watching now than it was 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, but if you go on YouTube, you could see where it spikes with the most
Yeah.
views, right? And I guarantee you that'll
Yeah,
be when
yeah.
Call of Duty starts. But like, when you're watching it initially, it'll all be one stream. So Xbox benefits from the Call of Duty hype anyway. So, they're going to brag about the most watched show ever, but we know it's Call of Duty. But,
All right.
So I got some ideas of some things I think may show up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, clearly Gears is going to be there because they're already kind of talking about it, right? But I think we'll probably also finally see that like Marcus Phoenix collection or Gears collection or whatever. I don't think Gears 6 is like close. I think it's probably in like another 2 years at least before it comes out, but we will probably get a Gears collection before then. I think we'll probably finally see State of Decay finally, since it was all we got was like a CG trailer like back in like 2020. So it's been about 4 years. I don't think that's quite ready yet. I think that might be 2025, but I think we'll see that too. South of Midnight and Clockwork Revolution, we might see those. And I think that's it. I don't think we're going to see, right? We may see some new things, but like stuff that we already know about. I don't think we're going to see anything else.
Also, the numbers will boost up because all the PlayStation gamers will be watching what's coming to their console in a couple of years. So all the PlayStation community will be watching the show too. And so, the numbers are going to be huge this year because you have the PlayStation guys, you have the PC guys, you'll have the Nintendo guys hate watching probably, and then you'll have all the Call of Duty fans. Hey, it's going to be a fun party. There we go.
That's awesome, dude. All right. Okay, guys, so we're going to get into the non-gaming segment of the show. We're going to talk about some rap shit. So, if you guys have not been keeping up, but you've been keeping up, like, obviously, right? Kendrick Lamar, he came through. He was featured on a song, and it called Like That. He said there's something about, like, there's no big three, there's just big me. And that's in response to the song that Drake and J. Cole did. Oh my God, what the fuck was that?
First person shooter.
Yes, first person shooter. That's where J. Cole said that it's the big three. It's me, Kendrick, and Drake, whatever that line was, right? So that's in response to that, right? And so, yeah, so Kendrick's like, there's no big three, it's just big me, basically, right? And so J. Cole came out and with a diss that he really was not feeling, and then he immediately retracted it, and then he apologized. He's like, it's not vibing with my energy, my spirit. There's just something in my spirit was saying this shit wasn't right. So he apologized on stage, retracted it, and not gracefully, he bowed out of the beef, quote unquote beef, right? So then
Drake, tomatoes and rotten lettuce thrown at him on his way out because when nobody trying to hear that. But go ahead.
Because honestly speaking, he shouldn't have said anything in the first place. He should have just been like, oh, or just had like just a small fucking line. You know what I'm saying? Like, he should have just let it go. If he wasn't feeling it, then he should have let it go. He never should have said anything, because apologizing, again, I just personally don't think that was the correct move, in the sense of you never should have released it in the first place. But him bowing out, that probably was smart. And by probably, I mean that was the smartest.
He took a short-term L to get a long-term W, because him not being a part of this, he ain't got none of his skeletons, being yanked out of the closet. Ain't nobody, anything that he got that he may not want people to know about. They ain't no rich rappers paying people 10 G's to get that info. He ain't got to deal with none of this stuff. He can just sit back and watch the fireworks. And as of right now, it's starting to look like a blowout. it's starting to look pretty bad out here.
It's pretty bad right now. So then Drake came out with push-ups, and that wasn't just a diss towards Kendrick. It was a diss towards a bunch of people, because he's got a lot of people in the industry gunning for him, essentially, right? And so I thought that was entertaining. I liked push-ups. And then he dropped Tailor Made, which featured some AI of Pac and Snoop Dogg. And so Pac's
that was a mistake.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah. Pac's estate came through and was just like, go ahead and delete that shit, fam. You know what I'm saying? So then Kendrick responded with Euphoria, and I think that even though and of course it's a diss, it doesn't have to sound good, you know what I'm saying? In the sense of, is it like appealing to listen to, like sonically, right? Even though it wasn't that for me, Euphoria still had some heavy hits in it, had some heavy punches. I listened to it multiple times and I was like, this is the better diss in comparison to Push Ups. This is a better diss, right? He
Yeah, it
has
is. Yeah.
more hard hitting lines in this one. Then after that, Drake drops Family Matters, right? And actually, sorry, after Euphoria, Kendrick drops 616, and I like that. Like I like how that one sounds. And essentially in 616, he is warning Drake. He's saying like, and he was doing that in Euphoria too. He keeps warning Drake that he's like, I got this information on you. You have a mole in your camp. He said that about 616. And the people in your camp don't rock with you. They don't fuck with you, right? And so later that night, Drake drops Family Matters. And in Family Matters, I thought Family Matters was great, especially like the middle part and the ending. Fucking phenomenal. I thought it was a great response. Drake implies, Drake flat out says that Kendrick is beating his girlfriend and he had to use a PR team in order to clean that image up. And he also stated that his girlfriend or one of his kids, one of Kendrick's kids, I don't know how many kids he has, but one of Kendrick's kids is not his actual child. That's the child of his general manager, I believe. So there's some really hard hitting lines in that respect as well. And then not like Kendrick did not let this man have a moment in the sun at all, right?
Not
Literally
even a
like
little bit.
30, 40 minutes, Kendrick drops again. And he drops Meet the Grams. And in Meet the Grams, it is like a therapy session. It's like a complete dissection of Drake's character. And he makes the comment that Drake's crew is full of predators. It's full of predators. He makes the comment that Drake is apparently hiding another child, an 11-year-old daughter, right? And he makes a comment that Drake is a drug addict. He is a nymphomaniac. He's a sex addict. And he took his time, Kendrick, that is, he took his time addressing everyone in Drake's family that we are aware of. He started with Adonis because Adonis would be the hardest hit since Drake was hiding him, right? And then he continued forward and he went through, he did Adonis, then he did Drake's dad. He mentioned how his dad was never in his life. And that's why Drake's a piece of shit. He mentioned Drake's mom, Sandra, and he was Sandra, whatever her name is. And he was all like, you know, your son is also just a fucking piece of shit. I'm sorry that he's your son. And then he's like, he starts talking about Drake having another kid, right? He says that it's like he's talking to Drake's like daughter or whatever. He's like, oh, you know, I'm sorry that your dad's a piece of shit who doesn't want to claim you, right? And then by the end, he's addressing Aubrey directly, and he's like, you're a fucking loser. You have nothing going for you. You are cosplaying as a cosplay gangster, fake ass accent. You know what I'm saying? You know, that Meg line and stuff. He's lied about his religion, lied about his surgery, lied about whether or not he's a good person, all this shit, right? Kendrick comes through, he says all that shit. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. I mean, he said it in the diss tracks, right? He did say that. But Kendrick does not like this man. He fucking I do think he hates him, right? This man, Kendrick said, your son's a sick man with sick thoughts. I think niggas like him should die. And then I'm just like, what? He said, I want you to die multiple times about Drake. He wants him to die. And then just now during the show, Kendrick drops another fucking diss. He drops another one, and I listened to some of it. He does, because I was talking about slow-mo. I was talking to slow-mo, that is, earlier, and I said, hey, so like in Meet the Grams, he does not directly call Drake like a pedophile. He doesn't say that directly. He says that him and Weinstein's like a rapist, right? Should be in jail together. He says that, but he doesn't call Drake a pedophile. I think that Kendrick has one more in him. Like, I think he's gonna drop another one. And then and the one that he dropped,
we both was like, yeah, that he's gonna go in on that more next time he drops. And he good grief.
All right, see you later, Singer. Get some rest.
Take care, man.
Yeah, and then Kendrick came through with this his next diss, Not Like Us. And he called Drake a pedophile. He did call him a pedophile in this, right? So he said he said a lot of crazy shit in this, but he flat out did acknowledge that he thinks or he knows that Drake likes young girls, right? Like he was saying that Drake, he was like implying it with these other disses, like, yeah, you know, kind of skirting around the issue. You like young girls, but in this one, he just flat out says like, okay, you're a fucking pedophile, basically. And the diss track picture is Drake's mansion, apparently, with like the sex offender icons on it. You know, on those applications that let you know what offenders are in your neighborhood, that kind of thing. Kendrick hates this man. He fucking despises him with every bone in his body, right? And here's how I feel about it. First of all, I love rap beef. I love the disses. I love the back and forths. It's so entertaining. It's always such a good time. I loved when Joyner and Tory Lanez were going back and forth. That was so fucking entertaining for me. When Eminem and MGK were going back and forth, that was so entertaining for me. I love that shit, man. It's amazing. I think it's great for the culture, so to speak, right? Now that being said, I do want to acknowledge, of course, there's like some hypocrisy in Kendrick's commentary, in which he's like, you know, oh, you're surrounded by predators and you have your kids around predators, all this stuff, right? And it's just like, okay, so Kendrick threatened to pull his music from Spotify when they said they were not going to play R. Kelly anymore, and we already know that in R. Kelly songs, he's talking about little girls, right? And then also Kendrick featured Kodak Black, and Kodak Black has some history with some sexual assault allegations, you know? So I actually, when it comes to like talking about, oh, the people in your crew, it's like if you interact with predators yourself, there's only so far there's only so far you can go with those kinds of lines. And if, again, I think that Kendrick was extremely strategic when he said, don't tell lies about me and I won't tell truths about you. Because at this point, and also because Drake is just a shaky person, we've seen that, right? But at this point, everyone thinks that anything that Drake says is a lie, and then everything that Kendrick says is the truth, right? And he specifically planted that idea in our heads. So subliminally, people are automatically going to just be on Kendrick's sides in that sense, in which they just believe that anything that he says is true and everything that Drake says is just false, right? So Drake called him, he said you used to beat your girl or some shit, right? You're a woman beater. If that's true about Kendrick, which we don't know because no one has dropped any fucking receipts, right? Any real receipts. If that's true about Kendrick, then Kendrick's a piece of shit too, you know? And then other people, like, again, people just don't like Drake, which I think is fair because I don't like Drake because of the stuff with the young girls. Like, that's my issue with him, right? But like, you can't deny he's a huge performer and he has that appeal to the masses, right? But people don't like him because they think he's a culture vulture. And I'll be honest with you, I fucking agree. I do think he is 100%. Like me, like I would like, that's like if I came out in like a couple of years, right? After you, and you guys have known me for years, right? If I came out and I started acting like Sexy Red, like, would y'all not be side-eyeing me like, girl, you grew up in the fucking suburbs and that's not how you usually talk. What are you doing? Right? It's just like, it's like a cosplay. I'm playing on a fucking genre. And that's where a lot of people are assuming that when Kendrick is going at Drake, it's because of Drake just being biracial. It's like, no, like it's more so the fact that, not fact, the opinion that it seems like Drake is not actually, he's not actually living that, he's living that lifestyle, but it's not true to him. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't actually define him. He's just playing a role, and that's what people were referring to. Now, there's also a lot of people, because they don't like Drake and they have that bias against Drake, that seem to like not understand some of the verses that Drake had on his song. When Drake said Kendrick was always rapping, like always stop rapping like you're trying to free the slaves. People are like, acting aghast and like, how dare you say something like that? And, as a black person, all this extra shit, right? But it's like, no, Drake is saying that Kendrick is a fake activist because he literally follows it up with like, you're a fucking fake activist. Like it's in the same context of the goddamn, it's a full fucking scheme, man. So it's like people are cutting off the fucking line and just focusing on that one part just to be like, oh, he's this guy. Shut the fuck up. You sound fucking stupid. I don't care if you don't like it. What Drake said is that Kendrick is a fake fucking black power activist. That's what he fucking said. All right. It's this whatever your feelings may be about it, at least acknowledge and be objective about what the fucking line is instead of getting in your fucking feelings about it. It's annoying, dude. But again, I think Drake's a fucking weirdo. All right. I've been ever since that fucking shit with Millie Bobby Brown where she came out and she was like, yeah, Drake used to text me when that girl was like, what, 14, 15 years old. And then when she was talking about how she went to Drake's hotel room when she was a young teenager. And then when the interview was like, what were y'all talking about? What did y'all do? And she was like, oh, I can't talk about that, or I'm not going to talk about that. I'm like, okay. That's not fucking weird. Wasn't Drake also texting Billie Eilish too when she was still underage?
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. That was true as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
He loves those young white girls, man. He
like,
can't get enough of them apparently.
That shit was enough. That shit with Millie Bobby Brown was enough for me to be like, oh, that's weird. Like, this guy's fucking weird, dude. Because I remember when I was younger and when Drake first came out, because he was on the up and rising when I was growing up, right? I was like, oh, he's great. I like him a lot, whatever, right? But like I said, that shit with Millie Bobby Brown, I'm like, oh no, I don't know about all that, right? And I was talking to Slomo about this, and we had this conversation, like, you know how all this stuff is coming out about Diddy now, and then all this stuff came out about Bill Cosby and R. Kelly, and it's like the stuff with Diddy and R. Kelly, those were like open secrets. Like even me growing up, I knew about like the whole R. Kelly peeing on the girl and making like an underage sex tape. Like that was something that I was aware of growing up.
Marrying Aaliyah and getting a fake birth certificate.
She was like 16 or something.
Yeah, I think she 15 or 16, one of those. Yeah,
yes.
He married her when she was underage. Yeah,
like dude was very openly a fucking predator. I remember someone was talking about how R. Kelly would go up to the high schools and they would pick out some high school girls, or like bro was like cruising. You know what I'm saying?
That was in the documentary. Yeah, that was his crew that was telling on him basically. Very
much an open fucking predator. Everyone knew, but because he was at the height of his career, that didn't stop him from being successful, right? And the same is right. And then P. Diddy, we all have heard some various allegations about P. Diddy. When all the stuff that came out with Cassie, I was like, oh, he 100% did all that shit. I fucking believe that just because of the things I've heard about P. Diddy over the years, right? Now, some people are like, oh, she doesn't act, that shit didn't happen. Bitch, come on now. I need you to start being fucking serious. Like, if you know anything about Puff Daddy, then you know that shit, like, one allegation is one thing, but multiple, it's just a fucking weirdo, dude. And so all that information, all that shit came flooding out. And me and Slomo were talking, and Slomo's like, right now, Drake is at the height of his career. So even though there's those rumors and speculation about him liking young girls that's out there, it's not really going to do anything towards his credibility or his popularity at this point, right? Give it another 5, 10 years, 15 years, and we're going to be seeing surviving fucking Drake, bro. Like, come on, dude. It's like, it is what it is, man. It is what it fucking is. And honestly speaking, that shit's fucking despicable. There's no topping being a child predator, bro. There's just no topping that. So in my opinion, even though I think that, again, push-ups and Family Matters, those are excellent. I do genuinely believe that, especially Family Matters. Kendrick won solely off of honestly speaking, because I think Euphoria hits harder than Family Matters, but Kendrick won off of Meet the Grams. Now, what I was watching some YouTubers earlier. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I think these YouTubers are Drake dick munchers, and I didn't realize it until I watched this video, right? But they were saying that Kendrick wasn't clever in any of his lines. He was just saying that he wants any of his lines in Meet the Grams, and they were talking about like that part where they were talking about the part where Kendrick's just like, I just want you to die. And I'm like, okay, I understand. I see what you guys are saying in terms of that aspect of it, but and they didn't like how the diss was structured, how it was more so addressing Drake's family members and acting as like a therapy session, so to speak, instead of like just being a direct focus. Like they listen to battle rap, so they wanted it to be one way and it was a different way. And I just want to be like, guys, battle rap is typically they are face to face, going back and forth in a huge crowd of people. It's different than like dropped releases on streaming services. So I think that their expectations
Yeah, there's produced
are
songs here.
skewed. Yeah,
Yeah.
like their expectations are skewed. And also, I do think they're Drake dick munchers, honestly speaking. So, but yeah, in my opinion, and I
There's a
still need to
lot
listen to
of
this
that
other
on
one.
both sides, though.
Yeah, there are. In my opinion, and I still need to listen to this new one. I think Kendrick just won solely off of Euphoria and then the double hit where he stole Drake's thunder and he also just said some like the shit he was saying was real vile. And again, like there's just there's no but again, it goes back to this. And this is like I saw a couple of people talking about this. Sorry to be the fun stealer. But, like, if you knew that this guy was a fucking sexual deviant, why didn't you say something sooner? Why did you wait for it to be like a rap beef thing? For it to be like a rap back and forth so you can, like, one-up this dude? But maybe that's why he's distanced himself. Maybe that's why he's like, I don't want there to be a big three, it's just big me. Maybe that's why he hates Drake. He's like, you're a fucking predator, and I don't want anything to do with you, and I'll be quote unquote strategic with it, and I'll release this shit in rap songs. Maybe that was his thinking there. But I'm of the mind like, yeah, if people, but I need to see some proof. I need to see some definitive proof that these allegations, both against Drake and against Kendrick, whether or not this shit is true. So, and again, I do want to say this. I don't care if Drake has another kid. I don't give a fuck about that. That story of added on shit, honestly, me, like, the idea of him having a daughter, I'm like, oh, that's pretty shocking. But it also, like, nothing really hits harder than you're a fucking pedophile, honestly speaking. So, what do you guys think? Yeah.
I think you've said it all. I don't really have anything else to add. Really, I would say Kendrick. I think with like a week and a half, he didn't respond, and people was like, "Yo, what is Kendrick doing?" But he was doing this. He was setting all this up. Like this is so organized. Like the progression of his disses, like where it's going, and you can see how like the previous disc, he has some jabs on a particular topic, and then the next disc, the jabs are the main entree. Like it's like, yeah, this is what this is about. Like he's destroying Drake at this point, in my opinion. Drake's had a few. I think Family Matters is pretty good actually. I didn't think Push-Ups was all that. I thought Push-Ups had a couple of bars, but nothing really serious. But the whole thing, I like rap beef. I've always enjoyed it. My favorites back in the day was, of course, like Jay-Z and Nas, but like Jadakiss and 50, Jadakiss and Beanie Siegel. LL Cool J and Cannabis. Like I like to see this kind of stuff, and when you see two like big rappers in the game go at each other, and it's a whole different vibe, and it takes a different skill set, because you could be a really good rapper, but when it comes to battling, you just don't have that killer instinct. You don't have that drive to take information you may know and really hit somebody deep with it, really expose someone, really come at them in that way. Like I would never see like Andre 3000 doing something like this, right? But like everyone still respects who Andre 3000 is and his ability as an artist, as a rapper. which is why the reason why I'm saying that is that like I'm seeing so many Kendrick dick riders that are just, he's the greatest ever, he's the GOAT, and it's just like,
someone said, I think what's it, Blessing's like, Kendrick's the best rapper of all time. I'm like, bro, are you over
stop it,
30 years
Blessing.
old? How old are
Exactly.
you? What the fuck are you saying right now?
What are you talking
Like,
about?
of course, you're free to have your own opinion. Obviously, we all are. But for me, I'm just like, I had to bite my fucking tongue, brother. I had to bite my fucking tongue. I was like, Ninja, what are you saying right now?
Yeah, it's so multifaceted. Like, there's battle rapping, there's dissing, and then there's like making good music. And I'm sorry, but the last couple of Kendrick albums have been kind of mid. So don't tell me he's the greatest ever. And his resume, his what do they call it? His discography is just okay. You know, like there are better artists, rappers who've got better albums. Their entire resume is better. Like let's keep it real here. It's just, but now you want to say he's the best rapper of the current generation right now? Yeah, I can see that, and I can understand it.
He's not even the best rapper of the current generation.
I'm saying I can understand someone's feeling on that. Like,
if they only listen to 5 rappers, yes.
Sure, but this it's a lot of capping out here right now, and a lot of fog of war going on, where people in the moment see something that's really cool happening. Like, this is going to be like because of the level that these two artists are at, people are going to look at this rap beef. They're going to be talking about this for like years from now. They're going to be, remember when Drake and Kendrick was going at it? Like, this is going to be one of those beefs that is still talked about years later. That's it. These guys ain't the greatest. And the Drake dick right, you can't even be in this conversation when you have ghostwriters. You can't even be in the conversation. You can't be in the discussion. You're no different than Diddy in more ways than one, or Dre, Dr. Dre. Like, you got ghostwriters, son. I don't believe, and at the very least, I would say this: even if, let's say, he may have had ghostwriters at some point, but he don't all the time. When Drake first got popular, back in the day, when I first heard of Drake, I was like, all right, okay, this guy's all right. But then I heard this one song, and I think it's off his first album. I can't remember the name of the song, but he stole bars from Dead Prez. And I was just like, hey, wait, did I just hear what I just heard? I was like, no, wait, run that back. And I ran it back, and I'm like, yo, he just stole bars from Dead Prez. Not just any Dead Prez song, their most popular song, Hip Hop. The first 4 bars, Drake stole it. And I'm just like, this dude sucks. I'm sorry. Like, after that, I was just like, he sucks to me. I don't care how good of songs he may have here and there that I might think is good. You're garbage to me as an artist, as a hip hop artist. If you ghost writing or you stealing bars, nah, you no respect as far as I'm concerned. So it is what it is. I'm enjoying it. I think it's over at this point, though. Honestly, even if Drake comes back with something else, I don't see how the back to back like songs that Kendrick is hit him with at this point.
Kendrick said he's got more too.
Of course he does. This man spent like a week and a half putting this together. Like, he spent this look, he has did all his homework. He dropping songs. He had hitting them 2 at a time a song because he got more. And yeah, at this point, I don't know. Like, Drake might just need to take the L, At some point, you're gonna have to take the L, man.
Yeah. All right, but okay, so real quick, so Lynch says always can count on you being fair to both sides. Drake set up the timeline of tracks coming out fast and it's backfiring. You know what? I do agree with that. I can agree with that. So me saying like, okay, I would have. I mean, I as a hit against Drake in the sense that Drake was being super fucking annoying, like badgering Kendrick to drop sooner, right? Like that was annoying.
Yeah.
As a hit against Drake with Kendrick just dropping back to back to back, I agree with that, Lynch. I think you're right. Okay, what about you, Nautical?
Didn't pay no attention to it.
Oh, okay. We could just
Moving on.
All
I
right,
didn't even know it was. I didn't even know it was going on until.
catch up, Ninja.
Yes, I didn't know it was going on until earlier today. Then I was like, "Holy crap!" So I haven't even listened to everything yet. So I need to still go through and do that. But
You got a lot to catch up on.
oh yeah, but well, I knew about all the Drake stuff, but then I didn't know that Kendrick came with so many today. So it was like, he's like, you're gonna hit me, and I'm gonna hit you with bombs, and I'm just gonna keep dropping them. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So I got to get caught up. But yeah, I didn't even know about it until earlier today.
Sweet, man.
You know, I actually kind of think, and this is just like I heard this theory earlier today, and I was like, this kind of makes sense. Maybe the reason why J. Cole bowed out is that like he talked to Kendrick on the side, and Kendrick was like, I ain't really gunning for you, I'm gunning for Drake. So you ain't have to come at me. And I ain't gonna do it this back. Just go ahead and retract what you said, and we good. And I think Cole was like, all right, bet. Because honestly, when you think about like what's the song called he did with Future, Like That? Is it Like That?
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of his hard-hitting bars was really for Drake. And it's in my opinion, in that. And so in Cole and Kendrick have been kind of doing like, at one point they were supposed to do an album together, and that never seemed to materialize. Back like a decade ago, they was real cool, and was always like, Cole was always like supporting Kendrick and vice versa. I don't really think, I think as two big like talented artists, they do take little minor shots at each other, because like I think, what was it like? I can't remember the name of this song, but Kendrick definitely did a song where he mentioned he mentioned Cole with a number of artists and saying, I'll take all of y'all kind of deal. But like, I don't think he really wanted it with Cole. I think he definitely just like Luca said, he hates Drake, and he wanted Drake.
No, that's just the normal posturing with artists. Like, I'm the best. I could take any of you out. That's, I agree with you. I definitely don't think that he was gunning, Jesus Christ, for Cole. All right, but so No Envy and Ronald wanted us to talk about No Envy and Corey wanted us to talk about the diss tracks. And then Ronald wants to talk about Amanda Seales. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I did not watch that clip with her and Shannon Sharp. I just was not interested. But I did hear about the lying about being autistic. She's an egg short of a dozen. I think she's allergic to accountability. She should have been self-diagnosing herself with BDP or narcissistic disorder. Yeah, so I can't really comment on this because, again, I didn't watch that clip.
I tried to watch the whole. I can't. I just could not. Like, it's I like Club Shay Shay. I like what Shannon Sharp is doing. This is one of those where it's like some of them I've stopped watching in the middle because I thought they were boring. Just the people he was interviewing was boring. This one wasn't boring, but it was annoying. It was Amanda Seales. She never takes accountability for anything. It's like, how is it that like it's always everyone's fault? Everyone always has it out for you for no reason, because you never did anything, and you're never the person in the wrong. She's always the victim. But then you look at how her tone, the way she speaks, the condescending way she speaks to people, the like you see what the issues are. It's like she's like the perfect example of the person that's like, it's their truth, not the truth. And their truth is just their side of things that is completely removing any accountability along the way to make it seem like everyone just did her wrong. She got fired from this job. kicked off of that show, kicked off of this show, fired for that job, fired here. How are you always getting fired and it's never your fault? Who's the common denominator here? So, yeah, that's what I took from it. And I think Shannon as well, and of course, and this is going to happen after the interview, she then throws Shannon under the bus. Oh, he wasn't there for me. I didn't feel comfortable. He was disrespecting me. He edited the interview to make it seem a certain way. And you can just tell, I think even halfway through, Shannon knew she was going to pull that move on him. You can just tell, like, you see his body language with the way she would, like, say certain things, and he would ask questions, and he just kind of putting his face in his hands and just kind of rubbing his forehead, like he just wanted that thing to be over with. You can tell he wasn't listening or believing anything she had to say, because clearly it was all just slanted versions of the truth. It's just, yeah. I don't think she's long for this industry, because you can only go burning bridges so much before there's no more bridges to burn.
I think she's out of bridges at this point, honestly.
Probably.
Especially after, especially when you look at that scenario and you're like, how many people he's had on there, and you were the first one to say that I feel safe, where literally everybody that goes on there opens up because they feel like it's safe.
She's the only one.
You're the only one. Only one. And the thing is, he does this even with the people, like, even with, like, his biggest one with Cat Williams and stuff. Even when he was saying things about people, he was like rubbing his forehead, like, oh man, they all gonna come at me. Like, why did I say? But like he said, I'm gonna let you speak your truth. But ultimately, is your truth, like, does it make sense? And then when she tried to come at him about what he had said, by just making making a statement about something, it was just like, you know exactly what he meant by it, but you want to make this more than it needs to be, and that she just kept going on and on and on throughout the rest of the show. It was like that was the starting point, and then it just went into overdrive. The one thing you need to do is, if you didn't like watching it on the stream, is one thing. Listening to him and Ocho talk about it on Nightcap is a completely different other thing. And it was like,
I gotta see that.
Oh yeah, him and Ocho, they just did a little breakout of just that. And they talked about it on Nightcap. And I was like, yeah, this all makes sense. But it made sense to me, because ultimately it's like, every person you come across, it seems like they're doing you wrong and stuff. And at a certain point, nobody's going to want to deal with you. And I truly believe she's heading to that point right now.
I didn't, and I heard this. Because I didn't finish it, so I didn't see it happen. But apparently at some point in the interview, she just stopped in the middle of the interview and took a 5-minute phone call.
Okay, I would have kicked her out.
Really?
Yeah. That's what people are saying. She took a 5-minute phone call in the middle of the interview, and I think he probably edited that part out. But like these are things that, like, what are you doing? It's just like some people have no respect for anyone else. And there was a part, like, he in the beginning, like, he tried to give her a hug. She didn't want to hug him. And then later on, she's all like I think she wanted a hug in the middle of the interview, and he's just like, I tried to hug you when you first came in. And so they got up and did a hug, but it was, at this point, it's awkward. Because it's just like in the beginning, you didn't want to hug him.
I wonder, every time he puts out that tweet, like the community tweet of him showcasing the person they're going to talk to when they go live that next day, and it's like them standing next to each other with his arm around her. So he does it with everybody. And I wonder if that was taken before the show.
Probably after. I don't know.
Well, if it was after, good on him for still keeping his composure. That's the one thing I will say. He doesn't really try to, tell you right or wrong or anything. He just, has objections and stuff to the things that you say.
And he'll ask you questions that, like, are real questions that people want to hear answers to. And
then where those questions go, some people just get real indignant with it. And I'm like, okay, Here we go.
Now, in regards to what was asked in the in the question from the community, Amanda said in the interview, she said she was diagnosed with autism. She said she was. He just took her word for it.
Yeah.
It comes out later she has not been diagnosed for autism, and so then she's like backpedaling and saying, "Oh, I didn't mean it like that," and "Oh, I got like she's trying to find a way to blame Shannon for it," and it's just like, how was that? You said
allergic
that.
to accountability, eh?
Allergic to accountabilities. She's never accountable for anything. It's never her fault, and it's just how she conducted herself during the interview and afterwards with Shannon is just it's a prime example what her problem is with everyone else. Her issues with that's the girl that brought her on her show and her network. Insecure is the show. What's the name of
Issa Rae?
Yeah, Issa Rae. She got issues with Issa Rae. Issa Rae tried to be the bigger person, it looks like, and be cordial with her and keep the peace on the set for Insecure. But like it got to the point where it's just like if you watch the show, like the last season and a half, she's barely there. And it's mostly because they couldn't deal with her. You know, her co-hosts her co-stars didn't like her. People who worked on the show didn't like her, and she's admitting all these things, but she's never admitting like, well, why is it this person has a problem with me? Like, where did it start? It's always like, you know, just one day, so and so just doesn't like me, and it's just like that don't sound like the beginning.
I always say this. If multiple people of different backgrounds and religions and beliefs and who were raised differently, if all of them have one thing in common, and that one thing in common is that they don't like you, you're probably the common denominator. As in, the problem is you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's probably something wrong with you. So she sounds super annoying. I'm glad I didn't watch it then. But yeah, I hope that satisfied you, my brother. Shout out to my channel members. So shout out to Amon, Gregor. I can't wait for my new art. I know that you're not here anymore, but yeah. Cassie, Autumn, Michael, Blue Moon, Outlaw, FTW, Arcade, Blessed, Drav, Neil, Mass Produced, Kenneth, Miko, Phil, Lionel, Fonz, Meat Puppet, Yobi, King Metrochan, Corey, and Bandy, Imar, Damien, Dolo, Tevin, Ronald, Dealer, MJ, Dirk, Scroat, Lurgerenza, Kinney, DC, Big Daddy, Smitty, Sub Negro, Jazzy, Dom, Duckman, Sycamore, Zion, Breesky, Light Stripe, Pepitio, Nautical, Jet, Envy, Slomo, and Hannibal. Appreciate you guys being members of the channel. Nothing but love. Sending a lot of love to you guys, and thank you for supporting me in this way. Shout out to everybody who listened to the show live. Nothing but love and respect for y'all. Shout out to everyone who listens after the fact. Shout out to all the super chat support. Thank you so much, guys. I really do. Jesus Christ, I really do appreciate you guys supporting me in this way. You know, someone called some of y'all stupid. You guys aren't stupid. It's just a difference of opinion. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So shout out to Corey with the dono. Shout out to Corey with the big dono saying Amanda Seals plays victim far too much and Kendrick is ridiculous. Appreciate you, my brother. As always, coming through with the fucking thank you for coming through with topics. Like, I really do appreciate it, especially when we have like dry weeks, bro. Like, I should be beating my ass trying to figure out stuff to talk about. But yeah, I don't like people who, again, the common denominator. If a bunch of people don't fucking like you, it's probably you. It's probably you. But that mostly, I mean, of course, context. But she sounds annoying. And the whole, like, I'm autistic thing, it sounds like she's trying to make an excuse for her nasty behavior. And there's like that idea, that concept, that stereotype that autistic people are, like, rude. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what it is. So, which sounds fucking suspicious on her end. It sounds prejudiced, sketchy.
There was this one part she was talking about one of her co-stars, and they were having a conversation. She called him the N-word, and he got upset. He was like, "I don't like to be called the N-word," and so she was like, "You can tell she didn't take that well." Because in her retelling it to Shannon, she's like, "All right, whatever," and so apparently he made a complaint. Issa came to her and was like, "Can you not call him the N-word?" And she's like, "We say the N-word on the show. What's the big problem?" And it's like, y'all are acting on the show. So if someone calls him the N-word on the show, he's probably not going to take offense because it's in the script. When you're not acting, he probably doesn't want you to act like your character on the show, which was hilarious because like she had an issue with Issa, and she said that Issa told her like, well, maybe I had this feeling about you because you remind me of the character that's you play in the show. And she's like, well, why would you think I'm like that character? But like, here you are using the lines your character says in the show to justify you calling someone the N-word. It's just...
Yeah, I don't like and honestly speaking, there are other Black people who are like, if you tell them not to call you the N-word, they get offended, which is super weird to me. But like I use the N-word when I'm like rapping or listening to music, but I try not to use it in my general conversations because I personally am of the belief that none of us should be using it because I don't think you could take away the history of that word, the vile history of that word. And that's just my perspective. But I would never like get on anyone who uses it. Like I don't dictate how people should speak, right? Like that's just not what I do.
Mhm.
And also it's just a part of the culture, it's ingrained in our music. It's ingrained in how people talk. So I just I wouldn't go to my job and call someone the N-word. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's all about common decency and respect. You can't just go around calling people fucking slurs and be like, well, we said it in the show. Like, choke. If someone tells you not to call them something or not to say something, you need to respect that. Like my nephew, I call my nephew Babe, right? And that's just because my nephew has the exact same name as my friend from high school. And me and my friend, we call each other Babe. And we don't even use each other's fucking names, right? We're like, Babe, 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 right? So my nephew has the same name as my friend. So I call him Babe, right? So I went downstairs and I was like, oh, hey, Babe. And he was like, oh, don't call me that. I don't want you to call me that. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I say his name and he's all like, then he's all like, I want you to call me Monkey. And I'm just like,
what?
I was like, okay, and then my thought process was like, sir, you are part Black. I don't think I can. Okay. I was like, all right, sure. I'll call you that, right? So I went downstairs to grab my laundry, came back upstairs, and I was like, hey, Monkey. And he's like, don't call me that. And I was just like, all right, I'm going upstairs, man.
That's crazy.
Geez, I love kids, dude. They're so much fun. They're so much fun. But I say that to say this. If someone says, don't call me something or don't do something, you need to respect that. And if she can't, she sounds like a fucking nightmare. I don't like dealing with those kinds of people. I don't like inconsiderate people. So,
Yeah.
all right, but let's go ahead and fucking skedaddle. All right. Nautical, go ahead, do your outro.
Yo, great show, great conversation. DPS podcast next week, my channel, DPS channel after that. Great show last week with the homie Slow Mo. Go check that out. Great show today. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the games you're playing, and enjoy the weather. Have a good weekend.
Slow.
Yo, great show as usual. Enjoy your games. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, I'll catch y'all later. Peace, my boys and girls.
Peace.
And everything, all my non-binary folks, if I have any.
Everything is awesome.
All right, bye.